increased in recent weeks, and the United Nations' $1.46 billion appeal is now 67% funded. But aid officials warned that it had come very late and that more was needed. Audrey Crawford, Somalia's country director at the Danish refugee unimaginable scale if we don't act fast. For his part, the United Nations Humanitarian Chief Martin Griffiths spoke to reporters in the Somali capital Mogadishu after touring camps for internally displaced people and visiting hospitals treating malnutrition children. Quote, hundreds of thousands of people are at imminent risk of death. I have been shocked to my core these past few days by the level of pain and suffering we see so many Somalis enduring. Famine is at the door, and today we are receiving a final warning. The political battle over the immigration policies of U.S. President Joe Biden's administration has expanded in recent days, with officials in Chicago asking for volunteers and donations to assist for asylum seekers being bussed into the city from Texas. Mayor Lightfoot, Chicago, told reporters that about 125 migrants have arrived in the city on board buses from Texas, including 50 people arrived on Sunday alone, most of them families. Lightfoot said during a news conference to make sure that migrants who are coming here to our city are well received. Mayor Lightfoot said Chicago had not yet heard from any Texas officials and urged the state's Republican Governor, Greg Abbott, to collaborate on a more humane treatment of the asylum seekers and migrants. Quote, my frustration comes from the actions of the governor of Texas. There could be a level of coordination and cooperation, but he chooses to none of these things. Political tensions have increased over the growing number of asylum seekers arriving in the United States-Mexico border. Abbott, who is seeking his third term in office in the November midterm elections, has seized on the issue of record-high arrivals at the border to boost his campaign. Since April, Texas has bussed more than 70,000 asylum seekers and migrants to Washington, D.C. and New York City. Last week, Abbott began sending buses to Chicago. He says more cities could be added to the list and that the buses are needed because the Biden administration has failed to effectively secure the border. The Democratic mayors of Washington, D.C. and New York City have denounced the move and called on the federal government to help. Chicago Mayor Lightfoot said several aid organizations in Chicago have stepped in and started providing assistance. He, Abbott, tries to send human beings, not cargo, not freight, but human beings, across the country to an uncertain destination. He is manufacturing a human crisis, and it makes no sense to me. In the United States, a vast high-pressure dome brought record heat to California and other western states over the Labor Day weekend. In Southern California, Burbank reached 110 degrees Fahrenheit on Monday, while in the north, Livermore hit a high of 116 degrees, 8 degrees higher than the previous record. The hottest temperature in Fresno, California, on Tuesday hit 114 degrees, which would be an all-time temperature record for September. The intense heat has helped fuel wildfires, including the Mill Fire, which killed 2 people, tearing through the northern Californian town of Leeds. In Canada,